Jeremy Brooks, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. How you
Awesome.
doing?
I'm doing really well. There's an episode out now about your Dazzler and Longshot book that don't think it has a title, does it?
No, well, if it does, it would be Lady Luck.
Oh yes, yes. I suppose
Yeah,
right. And then also your series Ruby and Rubbish, which
yeah,
is friggin' awesome. People can get it at your website, right?
they can. Yeah, I
Okay.
do. I do have some. I have some copies of Ruby and Rubbish left. I don't have any copies of the X book left,
Burn, burn,
unfortunately.
burn.
Yeah,
Well, then if people want to get it, I assume they can just go to your website, right? Which is right. Well, I don't know how to.
it's just sketchbrooks.com.
Yeah, right there on the ticker
Yeah.
tape.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
But that's not what we're talking about today. Today, or right now, we're talking about your comic book gene pool episode you picked, the Heckler. And this is a book that I remember seeing it on the stands, and I think I remember seeing it in like back issue things or up on the wall. It was always like that face, just that face, always was something that kind of like drew me in. And this is a book that is plotted and drawn by Keith Giffen, right?
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah, he sort of was always like an interesting cartoonist to me because I think the first time that I ever saw his work or paid attention to it was with Trencher,
yeah,
and it was so out there
yeah.
and strange and interesting and as like a I don't know 13, 14-year-old, however old I was when it came out, it drew me right into it.
Hmm.
And then I was like, well, I got to find more stuff by this guy. And then I would start looking at his like earliest stuff in the 80s. And I'm like, this isn't the,
Nothing
no,
like
oh,
it.
I hate this. I didn't now as a grown man, as an adult,
Yeah.
I don't hate it. It's just because it was a shock
Hmm.
to
Yeah,
see
very
the
different.
difference in it. I wanted to see more Trencher looking
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, huge evolution between even this, which I don't think was too much earlier in Trencher.
Yeah.
So this came out in '92,
Hmm.
and that was like, you know, pretty peak image boom era. Um,
Yeah.
that's
Images
probably why
just
I
came
picked
out,
this
right?
issue up. I was, you know, where I grew up, I didn't have I started out getting books off the newsstand and spinner racks.
Mm-hmm.
And just for a short while, we had a comic book shop, and that was during the image kind of revolution. So I probably went into the store looking to get my Spawn and Wildcats or
Right.
whatever. And I guess I saw this, and maybe it was that what you were talking about before, the smile, that that costume. Maybe it was just a number one. And it was that time when I was like, oh, look, let me check out something new. It's a number one issue, because with DC especially, it was kind of a blind spot for me. For the most part, I was mostly into Marvel
Sure.
and Image at this point. Um, so it was easy to jump onto this.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah, if you weren't a DC guy, like this seems like a pretty good one to latch onto something with.
yeah.
Um,
It's I don't remember, it was a long time ago, but something about that cover just really did draw me in. So
yeah, I think it is that face too. It's very much like in the Toth school of design.
yeah,
It's super simple, but then you got that giant smile where yeah, you can sort of see in the face where his trencher stuff would start to come from, you
yeah.
know?
I just love his and even just his background work here, like the city, and he does a lot in this issue and beyond with the signs, like this one that says blintzes, 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 and
Yeah.
like all of this just catches my eye, and I love the composition is great, and then you have this like decision to make him this really bright character, but he kind of looks kind of menacing.
Right.
So yeah, it
He's
was
got the ha 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 all over him. He's got this big smile, and even the
yeah,
lettering is reminiscent of like the '70s Joker series.
yeah,
You know, so he's
yeah,
got the Joker-esque aspect to him.
yeah. I don't know if you read anything about this character, about like his how he came to be, but
Well, I figured I was going to get it from issue 1, and I really didn't.
no, and I didn't. I mean, it took Wikipedia really for me. I kind of, when I was a kid, I thought he was just, kind of a meaner Spider-Man or something.
Yeah,
He
right.
kind of just wants to like annoy his enemies,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, he
And
heckles them.
yeah, this was like before Deadpool was kind of like
Oh yeah,
what he is now. Um,
yep.
and so I was reading that Keith Giffen he wanted to do a Bugs Bunny comic, but he knew that DC would never let him tell the story he wanted to tell.
Mm-hmm.
So this is kind of his superhero Bugs Bunny.
Wow,
And
that's
you
wild.
can kind of see that now. I totally see it looking at
Mm-hmm.
it. I wouldn't have, just thought of that reading it back then.
Does he have some sort of like a relationship with the Joker?
You know, not not that I've seen.
Weird.
I I did say that there was a note to the um, was it Tom and Mary
Yeah,
Beerbaum,
yeah.
who were the writers,
Mm-hmm.
um, and his note was basically like, even though he has these ha ha ha's, he can't ever, there can't be a word balloon that says ha ha ha, because that was tied to the creeper.
Oh, really?
Apparently, so that was like one of his kind of trademarks or something. So,
Okay.
but I didn't see any specific. I mean, maybe it was there, maybe in some kind of parody. I don't know. Maybe he's like um, some kind of analog in a way.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because he is a DC character. Joker's DC. The lettering looks like it. There's the ha ha
Yeah.
ha. I would have thought, and he's a heckler, and versus the Joker, I would imagine like you'd think
But
that
there's
it would be
also,
obvious that they would be like either rivals or like he would have originated as like a like a thug from him and like went his separate way and became the
Mhm.
heckler. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. There's also, though, like a mob boss in here who's called Boss Glitter or something like that. And who was a clown, basically. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Right. Right. Interesting. Now I want to know more about that stuff.
scary. And I just love, like, I guess that's the thing, too. It's one of those books that's not, he doesn't lay everything out, including this, like, opening page. It's kind of like basically that big diatribe there is kind of just saying, like, nobody knows who the heckler is.
Right.
It could be anyone. And I like that they just kind of go into it
Yes.
that way.
Yeah. That. Right.
There's
Yeah.
no origin
Exactly.
story to this. I mean, you find out who is behind the mask, but
Right.
um,
It is kind of funny because it's like come to think of it, I haven't seen you and the heckler together in this at the same
yeah,
time, have we? It's like,
yeah. I
this.
thought the humor in this still kind of holds up.
Yeah, it does. Um, this page here really looks very Ditko to me.
Yeah, definitely.
You know?
That's a great silhouette there.
Yeah, and how they throw the actual comic pages into it.
Yeah.
Malcolm Jones III inks this, and then Tom and Mary Beerbaum.
Hmm.
I don't really know who they are.
I was reading they have, like, Legion ties, which is kind of
Okay.
which is also a blind spot for me. I mean, Keith Giffen in general, before the Heckler, I knew that wasn't he the Bwahaha stuff, like he wrote, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I completely missed all of that, and this is my first exposure to Keith Giffen.
Yeah.
And Lobo. I think he was doing Lobo at the time
Mm-hmm.
as well.
Right.
I had friends that got into Lobo, and I just didn't. I
Yeah.
picked this up instead, which is which is funny.
Lobo always looked like he was trying a little too hard to me.
Yeah, I don't. Maybe I don't know what it was. I just wasn't
Yeah.
drawn to him in the same.
Right. Yeah, Giffen is still a huge blind spot to me. I've started to pick up some things from him, lately. Fife is really the guy to talk to about Giffen, I guess.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I in no way am going to be like
Yeah. No,
as well versed on Keith Giffen. So it's not that kind of podcast right now.
Right. No. We're talking passion. We're talking passion here. So this entire story is told this entire book is told in 9-panel grids.
Yes. Yeah.
And every single, well, let me walk that back because I wasn't really paying attention until towards the end of the story. But I think at least almost every single panel is packed with super dense backgrounds too.
It is. Yeah. I mean, he doesn't like phone anything in really. There's no like implied. I mean, there's a lot of implying because you don't see like you rarely see a whole like room versus like pieces of a room, but it just works,
Yeah.
And yeah, so they're in like a donut shop right now.
Right.
And there's this older gentleman here is like basically complaining about reruns.
Right.
On TV.
Yeah.
And this guy, they're saying that Stu, who's you'll learn is like the main character, is kind of, he usually gets there like right at 6 o'clock or something. And she's saying he's a little bit late because it turns out the clock is wrong. And this guy in the bottom panel is crowing like a rooster. And I mean, I don't know if he is some rooster type character mutant or
if he's just wearing a hat.
Weird. Yeah. So, but there's all kinds of characters like this,
Yeah, they're just completely random, out of the,
Yeah. Which I love again.
Yeah. I love ancillary characters who also have, a life. They're developed in a moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I love those throwaway characters that could have their own complete story if you needed to.
Yeah. So this is our main character now. He's
haircut is not great, I gotta say.
No.
Right off the bat, but this was 92.
92. We're just coming out of the 80s, and 90s hasn't figured itself out yet.
Yeah. He's picking up some donuts. Basically, I mean, that's this
the gist of that part of the story.
And she's telling him he needs to get more rest.
Yes.
And so basically, there's this. He's bringing donuts to a cop or detective.
Right.
And this detective is sitting here mourning the loss of basically a donut shop called 42 it's a donut shop that had 42 varieties of donut. And I didn't get this at all at first. Yeah, he's crying over it. So it meant a lot to him. And then he's basically saying, Stu brings him donuts. Stu, the main character.
Yeah.
And he's the name of that place was Dozens of Donuts. But they only sell glazed donuts. And he's like, well, why do they call it that if it's only glazed? He's like, well, they have dozens of
glazed donuts. Yeah.
Which reminds me of a place that opened in my neighborhood that was called Just Donuts.
Yeah.
And then at a certain point, they added more and more to the name. And it's like, well, which is it? Like, is it Just Donuts or more? So I just thought of that while reading this. It's funny.
Here you get the first. You got the Daily Bugle here. You get the first mention of. Yeah. You get the first mention of the Heckler, and he snares Mambo.
Yeah, Mambo, I guess, is part of this this gang that he owned he in charge of a certain section of this town.
Yeah.
And Heckler took him down. Now, this page, okay, here's Boss Glitter, I think is his name. Is that right?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Anyways, but check out this guy. I mean, both of these dudes, and the guy with the prune face.
He's like a toe.
Yeah, he's like our main adversary in this book.
Mm-hmm.
The dude behind him is missing a complete, like, he has one eye and no
Half
mouth.
of his face, yeah.
Yeah, but you just kind of have to go with it, I guess.
And then here, it's the other half of the face.
So it changes.
So
he's kind of like
here's the thing: is like Giffen loves to like hide people's faces in shadows a lot. I noticed,
mm-hmm.
which is a great effect when you're need balance of black and white, and also you need to kick this thing out the door. Which clearly he's like spending time on the background.
Well,
he's not really kicking anything out the door.
Yeah. Maybe that's where he's saving time.
But yeah, maybe. And also, like, he isn't drawing noses on anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Even the heckler, no nose. He's got a nose, but no mouth or eye. So you gotta take one facial feature away to save time. I think that's the Giffen MO.
That's what Stump's nose.
Yeah.
But it basically Glitter is basically telling this prune face Gisano guy, he's going to have to take over for this dude that the Heckler took down.
Right. And are these the his two henchmen, or is he just the one? I can't tell if this is like
a sense for like if that's Glitter's henchman, or if Gisano has his own guy and it's this.
Maybe. Yeah, because it is on his side. Well, no, it's on his side.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's a little confusing there. But I guess the gist is that he's telling him that since King Mambo is in jail, now he's going to have to take over this other part of the city. And he's like, well, I mean, I've already got busy with the part that I already have. And he's like, oh, it seems... He seems to think I was making a suggestion.
Yeah, I love that. Then that close up of him.
Yeah.
And then he quickly changes his mind. He's like, oh, yeah, okay, right. I see. So I guess that's what I'll be doing.
It's wild. I don't know if it's the inker or what, but I have like these weird like Kyle Baker, Cowboy Wally vibes with the ink, but then also you get these like very Kirby, like those lips, with the wiggle in it.
I love those teeth, though. Like just that little implied.
Yes,
it's great.
So this is cool. I had to squint. It was very late when I was reading this, and I had to squint because the spelling is all wrong on here, and it was so late, and I was going, wait, is that how you spell it? And it took me a minute to realize that the grammar was supposed to be terrible.
Yeah, I guess this is Stu's kind of source for information.
Mm-hmm.
And it took me a second to kind of wrap my head around this too. Like for a second I was like, is he writing with his mouth? But then he's kind of like, I guess rubbing his wrist like he's been writing for a while or something.
Yeah.
Carpal tunnel setting in. I don't know. But he basically gives Stu info on Gisano, who's on this boss. Yeah, and so I think this is where he's like, so that whoever made the sign put fats instead of it's supposed to be called eats.
Mm-hmm.
And this Elvis looking guy is, I guess turns out to be kind of like an informant. Okay. He just has, he has like, later on in the book, he has like everyone coming to him for information in this restaurant.
So this is the hub.
Yeah. And this is his French chef, I guess, at this little diner.
Yeah.
He looks like kind of John Cleese or something.
Looks like John Cleese meets Alfred. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So maybe this is his Alfred analog in a way.
Maybe.
But he's taking the time to make Picasso like out of his bacon and eggs.
Yeah.
And this guy's complaining, basically. The customer is like, nah.
Right.
This isn't what I paid for. And this is Stu's, the guy in this white, sweet white suit is Stu's business partner.
Mm-hmm.
And you get the impression that he's come in, like he's not around much.
No.
He basically comes in, gets some paperwork, and then says he has to go to a stress reduction class.
Right. Yeah. He's got other things going on. He just wants to make the money and not do any of the work.
Yeah.
Love these panels with him.
Yeah, more silhouetted.
Yeah, and just like the faces in the faces in the dark like that.
Yeah, that's great.
It's not done enough. I think that many of us are too afraid to cover up our pretty drawings. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's harder than it looks to do.
Yeah, no, it is, because it has to be right, and there has to be a reason for it, you know, and the lighting has to be right. It's like you got to look at a lot of Frazetta stuff, I think, because he was a master at balancing that stuff. Not his paintings, his inks.
Yeah. So this
again, look at how jam packed. Like there's no need. There's no need for all of that background. You know, like he could have saved himself, given himself a breath, given them. I mean, a lot of people say you got to give the reader a break too, you know, with their eyes to give it an open panel. But
and I think that's kind of the complaint with Trencher in a way, is like, because when he switched to that style, it was like, you know, basically one line weight, and then but he still had these very dense backgrounds and stuff.
Yeah,
I thought it was super cool, but it can be hard to kind of decipher, you know, as you're going through.
Yeah, I mean, when I was a kid picking those things up, I didn't care about.
Yeah, no. Storytelling was not.
I just wanted it to look cool. It's like the McFarlane thing, like as long as it looks cool, put a bunch of chains in it, you know, or whatever.
No, I was right there with you.
Yeah.
And this girl, this is someone that he's apparently he's wanting to hire someone, and he takes a peek at who his potential new employee could be, and it's this lady, and it scares him off. Basically, he just leaves.
I think it's funny, like this punk aesthetic. In 1992, it was pretty much over for like a long time by this time. But
I love that button that just says sure.
Yeah, sure. Just Pickles.
Yeah.
Looks like Dickles. Dickies. It is Dickies.
Oh, it is. I thought it was Pickles too. The green.
Yeah.
Yeah, just Dickies.
Okay. Oop. There we go.
So these first couple panels threw me off a little bit too. And this is Hisano basically one of his powers, I guess, is he kind of tunnels underground. So kind of tunneling under. And
see, I thought she was like kicking a TV here or something.
Yeah.
What is happening?
On the reread, I was like, what's going on here exactly? But it takes.
There are a few confusing parts, and I wonder if that is because everything is just way too dense.
It's dense, and just I think that decision to like go so far in with the camera, I couldn't get a sense of like which character this was or where they were.
Yeah, actually, I still don't know, because you see this girl and this guy here, but then like this girl's not wearing the same clothes.
Yeah, looks like she has a sandwich board or something.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Anyway, he pops out of the ground.
Yeah. And I think this is just Dickies, and this guy's fitting this dude for a suit or something, and he basically comes in Gasano and tells him that he's got to, pay up basically.
Right.
that he's going to be the new person that he comes to for that.
This is interesting lettering choice, covering up the whole face, but I guess there is no face.
There is no face. Yeah.
Like, where is that pointing to? His forehead?
Yeah, good point. I wonder if that was on purpose.
I don't know.
There's a few odd lettering, just where the bubbles seem way too small for the text, and I don't know if we've passed by any of those yet, but I did notice on this read. Yeah, see this middle panel here, like in the very center of the page.
Yeah.
How tight that some of that is.
Right. I guess it's because he punched the important information in the middle, and so there was no room. But there was room if they had just shuffled it.
Well, just the bubbles and how closed in they are on the text is what.
Yeah. I see what you mean. Yeah, there's supposed to be like usually there's supposed to be like a letter space around everything.
Yeah, I mean it works.
Yeah,
but it was I just thought it was interesting.
I love this character's face.
Yeah,
this is a great drawing.
That hair, and just you can't see her eyes.
Mm-hmm.
This big old like robe that she's throwing on him.
Yeah, like that had to take some effort.
Yeah,
to get that up on that guy.
I think in this part she's basically saying like you deserve like a pay raise or something.
Yeah.
Or a penthouse apartment or something like that. So this other guy that works for Glitter has gotten a penthouse apartment or something out of it, or something like that. So,
yeah, and now he's just taken on like twice as much work.
Yeah,
and got nothing but a threat.
Nothing else, which is pretty common actually, and corporate world especially.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and this is basically that Elvis guy again. He's given some info to a general, and I don't remember exactly what that was. But.
So we're sort of like learning that's his role, and then now we finally
see. Yeah, it is pretty wild that it's this long before you see this character in the mask. But I mean, I thought it's still pretty satisfying.
Yeah,
at this point. But it does kind of seem like, Stu is, he seems like the kind that's kind of like takes on more than he should, and he lets some people push him around. But then when he puts the mask on, he kind of like gets some, backbone or whatever.
Right. So this is like a junkyard.
Yeah, I guess this is where
the guy who was writing.
Yeah, it might just be his apartment. The whole town or city, basically. I mean, it just looks rough.
Yeah,
which I dig. I mean, I think it's interesting, but
so they've got this computer system in here, and he's looking for yeah, and then like he finds him, and so in 1992, like. I don't think anybody even has the internet yet, so.
Oh yeah, well yeah.
Might be just coming out, just getting there.
So this is pretty advanced.
Yeah, we probably know that it's coming, but you see this hatch here that goes under it, so I take it that this is sort of his lair.
Oh yeah, and I missed that before that
was
a hatch. I kind of just. I guess I glazed past it and thought he was just standing there like pondering. But they basically want to find Gasano first before he can come to them. And I think they're saying that they need to get a jump on him.
Yeah. So he's out into the night. And they're by the ocean.
Great
these pier pylons here.
Yeah.
You see the ocean.
This is the beach district. So.
And here's that character again. Now, I swore he had hair before.
Oh, really?
Yeah, let's see. Let's go back. Did I miss it? Oh, yeah, I missed it.
Yeah,
Here he is. Oh, no, he didn't. Okay, I'm just dumb.
You would, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me though, because it is like,
So he still doesn't have half a face.
yeah,
But
and it
it
changes.
switches.
Yeah, it just constantly changes, really.
Yeah.
So yeah, and basically Gisano is thinking the same thing, that they want to get ahead of the heckler and basically want to bring him to them. So that's why there's all these signs that say like, "Hey, over here."
Right. Right.
This
Yeah.
literally
Yeah.
pointing him to where he is.
So that's where you get the Looney Tunes aspect of it.
Yeah, yeah. Love this pose in the at the this middle panel on the bottom. Yeah, in front of the sign. Just
Mm-hmm.
very cool.
Yeah, this one's pretty cool too, as he's jumping down and you've
Yeah,
got the cast shadow. Great hero shots, all of them. Even
yeah,
this one. You
yeah.
know?
And the choreography that it gets into with the fight scenes and stuff, like I just still think about. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, it's so the phone rings and it's like it's the heckler and he says he's lost and he needs directions to him. He's like, "What?
Yeah,
Huh? What are you talking about?"
and it
And then
turns
he
out,
realizes that he's on his car phone. He's in his
yeah.
car.
Very Bugs Bunny move, I would say.
Well, here's another Bugs Bunny move: is that he burrows into the ground.
Yeah, yeah.
You know? So you got Bugs Bunny split into two characters.
Yeah,
Right
yeah.
now. And then he pops out of the ground. Does he? I can't tell if that's the car that he's smashed or.
I think so. I'm assuming that the one in the page just before the final panel is his car.
Oh yeah, that's it. Boom.
Could
So
be
here's
wrong.
Russell in the cans, and he's like, "Oh, which one? Which one is he in?" So it's like a shell game.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's like, "I think he's in the middle one, Mac."
Yeah, Mac. I mean, pretty obvious now. Like,
Yeah, it really is.
But I love these. So Gisano hits him, and I love these last three panels here where you see Heckler fly up into the air in the silhouette, and then you see him come down and crash. That was a great gag there.
So what is his power? Because like anybody else would have died from that.
Yeah, and I think that's like his main power is he's annoying, and like you can't hurt him, or he's not easily hurt. At least.
So he's like a kid.
Yeah. You know, I thought of, I guess, of the Tick.
Sure.
Which I don't. That cartoon might have been out by then. I can't remember.
The comic was probably out.
The comic probably was.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, and you know, even Deadpool today is just like you can't really. He just won't shut up, and you can't get rid of him.
Well, it very much seems like they took. Yeah, yeah.
Bugs Bunny. Yeah, you can't get rid of him.
It very much seemed like they took this character and then because Deadpool was created at this time, but he wasn't anything like that. He was just like a guy, you know, until what was it, Joe Casey or whoever got a hold of it.
I believe so. I think it was.
Yeah.
He's credited with kind of putting more of the humor into him.
Right. So he gets the tracks him down.
Yeah, look at this panel where he gets hit with the debris or whatever. Bends him backwards.
Yeah. And then he's like popping out over here.
Yeah, they're kind of wrestling there. And another great, like, where he gets thrown through a different piece of debris.
Mm-hmm.
And this where he kicks up on top of where Gisano tries to punch him, and he's doing this like little acrobatic kind of leap.
Yep. Yeah.
This is what gave me probably like Spider-Man vibes, I guess, when I was a kid.
Yeah. Yeah, the drawing is just great in these fights, and just, you know. There's no doubt the guy can draw.
Yeah. And he's just annoying him the whole time.
Right.
Basically.
And look at just how dark and brooding he is as a contrast to the silliness that's going on.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's good that he chose yellow because
yeah, everything else is so dark.
yeah.
Like on the screen, even it's much brighter than it is. Like on my screen that you guys are all seeing, it's much brighter than what I'm seeing in reality here.
Uh-huh.
It's pretty dark.
Yeah, it's well, my comic is a lot more muted.
Right. Yep.
It's old, but
and newsprint, I'm sure. Is it
yeah,
newsprint? Yeah.
yeah.
So the deal is the reason that we're looking at it on my iPad is that I ordered a copy of it off of eBay, and the seller, I was waiting to get this so that we could schedule, this to look at it, and it showed up, and it was issue 2, and I was like, did I order issue 2? It's totally possible because I'm doing 10 million things at once all the time. So I went and looked. I was like, no, I ordered issue 1. And I sent a message to them. And they go, oh, we're sorry. We accidentally sent you issue 2. We'll get issue 1 to you right away. And they didn't have it.
Some lucky person got a random issue of Heckler #1.
Or they ordered issue number 2 and
got issue 1.
Yeah. But, I don't always love to do these scan things, especially since it hops around and shit. But you got to do what you got to do sometimes.
Yeah, I think it looks good.
And I love how he's like on the side of this, like.
Was it a roller coaster or?
I think so. Yeah, it's like the cement. It's like the base of it.
Yeah.
And he's like just because he digs through the ground so easily, he's grabbing into it, and it's just like it's like clay in his hands.
Yeah.
And he's just riding him down like, hey, buddy.
Yeah, so basically the Heckler decided if he was going to beat him, he had to get up off the ground. So he goes to the top of this roller coaster.
Yeah.
But it's a trick.
Yeah, and he was sort of like, well, he's a sitting duck up there. I got him.
Yeah. Yeah, love this, how he's breaking through the panels.
Mm-hmm.
When he comes to the end of the roller coaster.
Yeah. So there's this whole thing on here. It's a slide. Oh, it's a slide, I think, actually.
Okay.
Because he talks earlier about how, and if he tries to get past me going down, if he doesn't have a sack to sit on, it's gonna tear him apart.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So he gets him to the top of the thing, I guess, and just he goes down the slide.
I mean, you barely see him as he's crashing through.
Yeah.
I love that smoke. Just.
Yeah. And I love all these letters, and I love the coloring on it. You can tell it's done maybe with marker.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it's not like at your regular coloring, which is interesting. And yeah, he right through to the ocean.
Yeah, it's pretty bad shape there. I guess he's.
Yeah, real bad shape.
This sign gag up here, home of the world's largest cyst.
Yeah.
Great carnival attraction, I guess. Putty Palace.
Andy's Putty Palace. Love it. And then so it's like the Heckler. Is he a hero or a menace? There's a radio call-in show.
Yeah.
About it. So this is our introduction to the menace. And then the next issue is the generic man.
Yeah. Who's literally just a
guy.
He's just. It's hard to. He's a silhouette.
Oh, really? Like a bathroom sign?
Let me see if I can find it real quick.
I've got it somewhere here, but I don't know if it's.
I found it.
You found it? Okay. Let me pull you up.
Let's see.
All right, so there. Oh yes. Oh yeah. He's literally just like a silhouette.
Yeah.
Generic man. Love it. So did you get a hold of this? Did you get a hold of this book and were like, I need to make comics. I need to do this. This is too much fun. Or was it like a series of things that...
It kind of is one of those things that only in the last few years I've realized like how big of an impact it made.
Mm-hmm.
I think I just loved these weird characters like that were never explained. Like they didn't go, there was no like, well, this is why this guy only has one eye.
Right.
It changes, in just that you could do anything in this world.
Yeah.
I mean, you could tell any kind of story, and that was, I thought was really appealing. And this was so unlike, any other superhero comic I picked up,
right,
that it just made an impression, I guess. And just, the craft of it is, amazing. So, in the humor, a lot of people don't pick up books for humor, but I thought it was funny, and that's another reason that it stuck with me.
Yeah.
You could do funny superhero comics and that it would find an audience, I mean, this only lasted, I think, 6 issues or maybe 5. I'm trying to remember. I think that it was supposed to go 6 issues, and it wasn't selling, so they were just basically like, let's wrap it up at 5.
Got our losses.
I might be wrong about that, but I have to go back and look. But
well, I feel like there's so much potential with it, especially now with Deadpool being such a huge hit. That DC already has this character with these elements built in. Maybe it's time to bring the Heckler back.
Yeah, I've only seen him used again one time. Well, I was just looking through photos the other day, and they had brought him back for some little mini or event tie-in or something, and it was like they had completely changed his costume. He was basically wearing a suit, and he had like a half mask or something, and it just was not. It wasn't the same to me,
No.
So
no. I could see getting rid of the Haas because that's insane to draw all the time. But, no, you can't change the suit. He's a Heckler. That's him.
Yeah, I don't think there's any. I personally love it, but that's why it's my avatar. I did my own personal drawing, fan art.
Yeah, I noticed that today actually. Because I had always seen your avatar for your Instagram.
Yeah.
And I never really put it together until today.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's the Heckler.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and like I said at the time, I was just like, I always really loved this character, and the more I think about it, the more I'm like, okay, this is maybe why I do this in storytelling, or who knows? There's a lot of subconscious stuff, I think, that I wasn't even aware of that probably came from this.
Well, I think that you should pitch a Heckler story to DC.
It's a lot to live up to, though.
And you're not doing the Giffen version. You're doing the Jeremy Brooks version.
Yeah, revised. Yeah, maybe.
It would be really cool.
I might have to get in line.
Really well for it.
Do what?
Your style would work really well for it.
Oh, thank you. It'd be a blast, man.
Well, something to think about.
Yeah.
Anyways, so where can people find you on the interwebs?
So you can find me, basically any social media at Sketchbrooks, or at my website, sketchbrooks.com.
Very cool. Where you can get awesome books like Ruby and Rubbish. They cannot get.
Yeah. You can't get that
yet.
We're trying to make it possible, but
well,
we need a reprint.
Yeah. But awesome. All right. Well, thanks for coming on, man. And I think that was a super cool book to look at. It wasn't something I would have looked at otherwise, and I actually learned a lot flipping through it. So
Yeah, I'm glad to hear it.
thanks for sharing
having me
that.
on.
Yeah, totally. All right. Till next time, everybody. We'll see you later. Join my Patreon to see my work before anyone else, plus score physical sketchbooks, mini comics, and commissions delivered right to your door, and reading my new books, Something Seems Off and Three-Headed Pigman, as they are made. Go to my website to order original art, commissions, and my books, Lost Angels, Spectral: A Showcase of Fear, Chaotic Neutral, and more. Gray Matter Drip, The Art of Chris Anderson is available now from Cosmic Lion Productions. Here are the upcoming conventions I'll be at the time of this recording. And don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe. It helps spread the word. Thanks.